Welcome into Four Verts. My name is Harrison Graham, where we talk NFL every single day and a lot of draft content this time of year. ESPN's Mel Kiper has, for some reason, already released his final mock draft. This is the last one he's going to do. It is a two-rounder. I thought we'd react and get my top takeaways here on today's show. And remember, I've got my own three-round mock draft dropping later this week, either tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. TBD on that, but stay tuned. Okay, Cam Ward, number one, Titans. Don't need to spend much time here. He's going to be the pick. In a normal draft, I probably wouldn't take him number one, but in a weak QB draft and not a ton of blue chippers at the top of this draft for a QB-needy team, I think it's worth the swing for Tennessee. Travis Hunter goes to the Browns. The latest intel would suggest that is the lean per Adam Schefter. I'm conflicted on if I'd rather go Hunter or Abdul Carter if I was Cleveland, but with them penciling in Myles Garrett for a long-term extension, Carter certainly gives them a different look. Okay, Hunter gives them a different look, excuse me. Abdul Carter then goes to the Giants at number 3. You could debate if the Giants should do this because their edge group is pretty solid. They still have Kayvon Thibodeau as a young player, sending Brian Burns, but to me, this is a blue chip player, and I would agree with this pick. In this scenario, I think you take Abdul Carter. The Patriots go Will Campbell at 4. I like Mason Graham a little bit more as an overall prospect, but the Patriots need offensive line help and just help for Drake May in general more. So I certainly have no quirks with this pick. Whether or not he's going to be a left tackle or a guard, that remains to be seen. I think you would try him at left tackle first, and worst case, kick him back inside. Mason Graham ends up going to the Jags at 5. This has become kind of a consensus pick. It almost would feel like a surprise if Jacksonville went elsewhere, but maybe they pivot and decide to get an offensive piece to help Trevor Lawrence after cutting ties with a few offensive pieces this offseason. Ashton Jeanty goes to the Raiders at 6 in Mel Kiper's 2-round mock draft. With them cutting Jack Jones, there's some chatter. Maybe they'd consider corner like a Will Johnson here or trading down and getting Will Johnson a few picks down the road. But Kiper has them selecting Jeanty. Armand Mimbu goes to the Jets at number 7. I think he's the best pure right tackle in this draft. That's the biggest hole on the Jets' offensive line. And if you're New York, you need to lean into the running game if Justin Fields is going to be your starting quarterback, which he is. I think Mimbu helps in that regard and helps protect Fields as well. He's got Jalen Walker going to the Panthers at 8. Carolina kind of feels like a wild card team. Do they go Jalen Walker? Do they go Teterow, McMillan? Could they just take Tyler Warren? Could they take Mike Green out of Marshall? He goes with Walker here, who in that scheme I think would play edge. Shedeur Sanders goes to the Saints at number 9. This is becoming more and more popular as the days go on. The Saints are the betting favorites to take Sanders at this point in time. And I think it's because most people believe the Giants will take either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at number 3. And if they don't trade back up to get Shedeur Sanders, then the Saints at 9 kind of become the next possible landing spot in the NFL draft. I'm kind of all in on this. I like it. Our guy here who runs our Saints channel, Trace Gerard, he's all over the Shedorlands headline. I think it makes sense. They need a quarterback for the future. Kellen Moore has worked with a lot of different QBs. He runs a lot of shotgun, a lot of quick game, which are things that Shedeur thrive in. I think he kind of projects as a not quite as physically gifted Dak Prescott, which, Kellen had a lot of success with in Dallas. So I like the fit. He could sit behind Derek Carr for a year if you need him to, and then you've got your long-term answer. And he brings a lot of hope to a small market franchise if they go this route. The Bears then land Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. Ben Johnson was raving about Warren at the owners' meetings. I think he's a player that's on their radar. Tight end isn't a top need for Chicago since they do have Cole Kmet, but they've gotten very little production outside of Kmet at that position. And Kmet is sneakily entering year 6, and Tyler Warren is one of the best 6, 7, 8 players in this draft. So I think this is a BPA pick that gives Ben Johnson another offensive weapon to work with. Will Johnson to the 49ers. I could see this happening. A lot of people have the Niners going trenches, but with them losing Charvarius Ward, I could see them pairing Johnson with Diamador Lenore on the back end there. I would prefer trenches here, but the top 2 offensive linemen are already gone. The top or 2 edges are already gone, so Will Johnson as a BPA pick, I think would be okay if you don't go trenches here. Amarian Hampton goes to Dallas at 12. There's been a lot of Hampton and Teterow, McMillan buzz with this pick for Dallas. Kiper has him going Hampton. I like McMillan more as an overall prospect. I think it's as big of a need for Dallas as well. I'd probably go in that direction, but Kiper disagrees. John A. Barron goes to the Dolphins at 13. A lot of Will Johnson buzz there, but if he's gone, Barron could be an option. They need a corner on the back end to pair with Jalen Ramsey. Colston Loveland to the Colts. If Tyler Warren doesn't slide to 14, Loveland's the next best option. They desperately need a tight end. They have not had a 500-yard tight end since 2018. That's got to change, and it's got to change quickly. Mike Green lands with the Falcons at 15. If the sexual assault allegations, if teams are comfortable with where those sit, right? Like if they're comfortable bringing him into their building and they don't think it's an issue, that either they believe they were false accusations or whatever the case may be, I think he's a top 10 talent in this draft. So if you get him at 15, especially in a 3-4 scheme, I think it's worth it for Mike Green. Matthew Golden goes to the Cardinals at 16. I like trenches or defense for Arizona, but they could use kind of a faster wide receiver to pair with Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson had a good rookie year a couple of years ago. Last year didn't do as much. They've got Trey McBride at tight end, so you could put Golden opposite of MHJ in that offense. Subscribe to 4 Verts. We're dropping free and daily NFL content here on this YouTube channel. We're reacting to Mel Kiper's final mock today. I'll have my own 3-round mock later this week. Let's get to 9,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Hit that sub button. Okay, second half of the first round here. Jahad Campbell goes to the Bengals at 17. I think he's a sneaky in play for Cincinnati. I'd like to go with a more pure pass rusher, but Campbell can play some edge. He can play some off ball. He's a versatile player, and they need defensive pieces, especially given the unknown around Trey Hendrickson. Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Seahawks. Great fit. He can play tackle. He can play guard. They need probably at least one, if not 2, new offensive linemen to come in and start, and Banks can do that and play at multiple spots. Nicky Manwari goes to the Bucs at 19. I think Jahad Campbell would be the pick here if he was there, but since he's not, Manwari becomes the pick. He can play some safety. He can play in the box. Freak athlete with good ball skills. I like him landing with the defensive-minded coach like Todd Bowles. Teterow McMillan goes to the Broncos at 20, and this might be my favorite value pick in Mel Kiper's entire mock draft. I think T-Mac is a fringe top 10 player in this draft. He's 6'4", 215. He's a fluid athlete. It's not a burner, but he runs low 4.5s. Really good after the catch, really good ball skills, good hands, good route runner. I don't know what I'm missing. Sure, do I wish he ran a 4.41 instead of a 4.52? Yes, but when you watch him play, his play speed is plenty good enough. He gets in and out of routes very crisply. You get him at 20 if you're Denver. I think that's an absolute steal. Considering a lot of people having going 12 to Dallas, and I could see him even going 8 to Carolina. Okay, Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle out of Oregon, goes to the Steelers at 21. I think they would love a guy like Amarian Hampton to fall here, but that seems pretty unlikely at this point. Defensive tackle is another position they could address, whether it's with a Harmon, a Walter Nolan, a Kenneth Grant. Kiper opted to go with Harmon here. I like the pick. Gray Zabel to the Chargers. I mean, is there a better fit in mock draft history? Jim Harbaugh gets his hands on Gray Zabel, just a nasty offensive lineman who will kick inside in the NFL. I absolutely love that fit for him. Michael Williams goes to the Packers at 23. Unknown where he'll go. I think late teens, early 20s is a proper spot for him. He's got huge potential, but still a little bit raw. He's a good run stopper right now. He's flashed pass rushing upside, had a couple of good games against Kelvin Banks last year, but at times he would just disappear for Georgia. So he's got to be a little bit more consistent. Donovan Jackson's been getting some round 1 buzz recently. He goes to Minnesota at 24. He can play guard. He can play some tackle. He kicked out the left tackle last year once Josh Simmons had the knee injury, played well there. I think he's probably a guard in the NFL, and for Minnesota, probably their week 1 starter at left. Josh Connolly Jr. ends up going to Houston at 25. They've been linked to Donovan Jackson a lot recently as well. Obviously, the Texans signed Cam Robinson to be their left tackle for this year, so Connerly could either play guard as a rookie, he could be the swing tackle, then take over in 2026. This would give them good insurance for this year and then a long-term starter. Jaxson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss, lands with the Rams. I don't think he's worthy of taking in the first round, but the Rams, where they're picking, who their coach is, the quarterback he could learn under, and Matt Stafford, obviously McVay being the head coach, I think that's a really good landing spot for Jaxson Dart. Clean up some of the mechanical things that are a little haywire right now. Learn from two of the best in the biz in McVay and Stafford for a year or two, and then maybe he's got a shot. Because he does have good physical tools, but he is at times just a reckless decision maker, especially as a runner, but also as a downfield passer as a quarterback. How many QBs do you think will go in round one? I think two are a lock. Even if Shedeur slides, he will go at some point in the first round. The question is, does Jaxson Dart sneak in? Does Jalen Milroe sneak in? Does someone else potentially sneak into round one? I do think at this point there's going to be a third one, and it probably will be Jaxson Dart. So if the over-under set at 2.5, I'd probably take the over. Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia, goes to Baltimore. Absolutely love this fit. He's not a great athlete, but you pair him with Kyle Hamilton on the back end. He could also play some nickel for you. Playmaker, good tackler. Love it. Donovan Ezaraku, the edge out of Boston College. One of the best speed rushers in this class, had 16 sacks last year. I think he's a good blend of what Aiden Hutchinson provides with more power and size. Ezaraku's kind of a smaller edge rusher, so kind of gives Detroit's pass rush a different flavor, if you will. Well, if you want the best flavor when it comes to gaming accessories and headsets, look no further than Turtle Beach, the number one brand in gaming headsets and accessories. Remember that feeling of booting up your favorite game for the first time? Maybe you got a new console for Christmas when you were younger, and nothing felt better than firing up the old console and those late night sessions, the epic wins, the sound of the lobby filling up with friends. Gaming wasn't just something you did, it was a whole experience, and the right headset made all the difference. Turtle Beach is bringing that feeling back with the Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset. It's stepping into the golden age of gaming all over again, only this time the audio is richer. The surround sound is more immersive, and the battery lasts an insane 80 hours. No more crackling mics, no more missed call-outs, just pure uninterrupted gaming exactly the way you remember it, but even better. The 3D spatial audio has taken my gaming to the next level, especially in fast-paced games like Fortnite and Call of Duty. The Stealth 700 headset also has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and PC with just the click of a button. So don't wait any longer. Get yourself a Turtle Beach headset today at turtlebeach.com/chat. Use code CHAT for 10% off your entire order. That's code CHAT, CHAT, at turtlebeach.com/chat. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you for Verts at Chat Sports. Get that ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. Link and promo code in the description and comments of this video. Okay, let's wrap up round one, and then we will go a little bit quicker in round two. Shamar Stewart, the edge out of Texas A&M. This is more of where I would take him. I like this from Kiper. You see some mocks where he's going like as high as Carolina at 8, the Bears at 10. I just don't think he's anywhere near polished enough as a pass rusher for that. The production in college doesn't point to that. 4.5 sacks in 3 years. He's got the physical attributes. He's an excellent excellent might be strong. He's a good run defender, but his only pass rush move is as a bull rusher, which would be tougher to do consistently in the NFL. I think late first round is proper for him. So Washington, who could use another edge, I think it's a good kind of spot to take him. Maxwell Hairston, the corner out of Kentucky, goes to Buffalo at 30. Really good speed, good ball skills. Inconsistent, though. Gave up a lot of completions last year for the Wildcats. I think you're going to live with giving up some big plays while also Hairston making some splash plays. Josh Simmons goes to the Chiefs at 31. I mean, these two picks for these two teams of James Pierce Jr. going to the Eagles at 32. Talk about just steals, right? I mean, Simmons could go as high as top 15. James Pierce Jr. was a guy who was getting first round or first overall pick buzz coming into the college football season out of Tennessee. There's some off the field question marks with him. Simmons has the knee issue that he's recovering from, but man, at 31 and 32, that's pretty good value for Kansas City and Philadelphia. All right, let's go into the second round now. We'll kind of go in chunks of 4. Tyler Shuck to the Browns. My guy Jack Sperry is a huge Tyler Shuck fan. I think 33 is too early, not for the talent, but for the age. He'll be 26 years old when the college football season starts. That's a little rich for me. Jalen Milroe goes to the Giants at 34. I kind of like that. Let's kind of talk about these two quarterbacks for a minute, then we'll come back to the other two players. They're total opposites, right? And I don't mean like in just play style. I just mean in terms of like what you're going for. Tyler Shuck, to me, if you're the Browns, if you're drafting him here, you're giving him a chance to start right away because he's a 7-year college player. He's older. He's played a decent amount. Like, he's pretty polished. He's not raw. He's not going to improve a crazy amount at this point in his development. Whereas Jalen Milroe, who has been a 2-year starter, he's played a decent amount. He's pretty raw. Like, he's got some mechanical things to work on as a passer. He's got to develop more just from delivering the football from the pocket. But he's only 21, 22 years old. They signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I like that upside swing for New York, and I don't mind the Shuck pick for Cleveland. I would just like it better around from now because at 26 years old, you kind of need him to start right away and be pretty solid. And if he's not, it kind of feels like a waste of it. Okay, Wafemi Oladejo, the edge out of UCLA. He's been a draft riser throughout the spring. Pretty powerful pass rusher. I think 35 is a little early, but he is going to go on day 2. Emeka Egbuka, love the value for Jacksonville. They get their defensive tackle in round 1, and Mason Graham. They come back at a weapon for Trevor Lawrence in round 2. Carson Schweizinger goes to Vegas. They let Robert Spillane walk in free agency, so they help replace him here with a guy with a better athletic profile, so I like that. Luther Burden III goes to New England at 38. Big fan of what Kiper has done for the Patriots here. They get Will Campbell to help protect Drake May, and then Luther Burden, kind of a creative weapon to help Drake May. So love that. Also love the value of Walter Nolan at 39. There's been whispers around him of personality quirks, this and that. I'm sorry, at 39, I'm okay if my defensive linemen, if they're studs, have quirky personalities. Like, they're going to talk shit. They may not get along with everybody in your building. But in the second round, Walter Nolan, for some people, would argue is a top 15 player in this class. He is a disruptive interior pass rusher who can also defend the run really well. At 39, yeah, I will take a gamble on that, even if there are some concerns. Azariah Thomas, the corner out of Florida State, technically very sound, not good long speed. Ran a 4.6 in the 40, not great for a corner. But we saw last year Lassiter out of Georgia played pretty well for the Texans. I think he ran a late 4.5, early 4.6, and he was pretty good. So if you've got the right technique, you can still live in the NFL with slower speed. Okay, Travion Henderson goes to the Bears at 41. Like the player a lot. Don't love the fit with DeAndre Swift. There's a lot of stylistic overlap there, so that's an interesting one. Elijah Arroyo to the Jets at 42. Kenneth Grant still out there, goes to the Niners at 43. So remember, we talked about how they don't go trenches in round 1 with his teammate Will Johnson. Well, now, not only do you get his buddy in Kenneth Grant, but you do address the trenches. So you like that haul for San Francisco. Trey Amos, the Cowboys could use a third corner. They get him out of Ole Miss. Jonah Savaiania, the guard out of Arizona, played both guard and tackle in college, but wants to be a guard, is likely going to be a guard in the NFL. Colts need to replace some interior offensive linemen there after losing Willie Fries and Ryan Kelly. Benjamin Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame, goes to Atlanta. They could use a guy to develop after A.J. Terrell. Like the Tyler Booker pick for Arizona, listen, I think he's worthy of going late in the first round. You get him at 47 here. I think the value is excellent. Darius Alexander, the defensive tackle out of Toledo. Love this guy. A little bit older. He's 25, but I think in the middle of the second round, it's okay value. JT Tuimoloau goes to the Bengals at 49, so they get Jihad Campbell and JTT, two good defensive prospects. Javon Revel Jr. Out of East Carolina goes to Seattle. Tradesy player, has a chance to be pretty damn good. They did this a couple of years ago with the kid out of UTSA, who I'm blanking on his name for some reason. If you want to help me out, producer Colin. Tariq Woolen, who was awesome early on, has been a little up and down since, but as a fifth rounder has been good. Revel, I think, who missed most of this year with an injury, has a chance to be good as well. I love these next two picks. Quinshon Judkins, the Ohio State running back, to Denver at 51. Jaden Higgins, the receiver, out of Iowa State at 52. Higgins, Kind of an ideal replacement, honestly, for DK Metcalf. There's some stylistic similarities there in that offense. Big, fast, strong, athletic. And then Judkins at 51, I think he's a guy that could go in the 30s. So for Denver, they get their tight end and their running back in their first 2 picks, and Colston Loveland and Judkins. Love that for Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Okay, 53 for 56 here. Nick Scorton, who's got good size, length, could move around that defensive line for Todd Bowles, versatile player like that. Jack Besh, wide receiver out of TCU, can play some slot, can play some outside. Really good hands. I think he had the second lowest drop rate among receivers in this draft class, so he's very reliable. Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU, goes to the Chargers, which I fully expect Jim Harbaugh to add a tight end in this class, so he gets him. And then Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, I do think Buffalo will add on that defensive line. Isaiah Bond goes to Carolina at 57. This is a little rich for me. We've seen the flashes both at Alabama and Texas. We've also seen the inconsistency. To me, he's more of a third-round, fourth-round player. He's obviously an electric player with the ball in his hands, but he's like a poor man's of Jameson Williams to me. I think it's a little bit risky here. Jalen Noel, like, for example, I would much rather take Noel over Bond. I think he's more reliable. Maybe the ceiling's not quite as high, but he's been much more consistent and productive the last couple of years at Iowa State than Bond has at Bama and Texas. Like that pick for Houston. David Walker, the edge out of Central Arkansas, second round. I don't know, Kipe. Might be time to hang it up. I'm just kidding. Kiper's a legend, but man, this feels like a reach. Anthony Belton, the offensive tackle out of NC State, massive guy, 6'6.5", 335, pretty good athlete. I think if you kind of redshirt him for a year and coach him up technique-wise, him and Ariante Ursery are 2 guys. Like, if you get them in the right situation and they can sit for a year, I think they have a chance to be franchise left tackles. Okay, wrapping this up, Darian Porter out of Iowa State. Really like him. Like the value, getting him at 61 for Washington. Xavier Watts, like this value too for Buffalo. One of my favorite safeties in the class. Get him at the end of the second round. 13 picks the last 2 years. An absolute ball hawk and playmaker. Caleb Johnson to the Chiefs. Love that as well. That's an upgrade over Isaiah Pacheco. Especially with Pacheco just not looking the same after the injury last year. And then Kevin Winston Jr., the safety out of Penn State, who's been a little banged up, but had a good springtime with the pre-draft process. He goes to Philadelphia. All right, there you go. What is your favorite pick in this Kiper 2-round mock draft? I think for me, it's Tetairoa McMillan going 20 to Denver. I like the fit in the offense. I love the value. I think that's an absolute steal. There's a lot I like. I mean, Kenneth Grant to the Niners at 43, Walter Nolan to the Bears at 39. I love Jaden Higgins. I mean, if Higgins is there at 52 for the Seahawks, my producer Colin, big Seahawks fan. I mean, he's pretty happy about that one. So you guys let us know. Favorite pick in this mock from Mel Kiper. My name is Harrison Graham. 3-round mock coming up later this week. Got to put that together, but that should be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that, and we'll see you then here on 4 Verts.